So you've been hearing about DFARS standards, right? But what exactly are they? And what exactly do they apply to? Well, stick around and I'll tell you everything you need to know. Hey there, my name's Andrew Kotlar, and ISO and ASTM standards were probably the only thing you thought you'd have to worry about, right? Well, in the case of uniformity, the United States Department of Defense uses DFARS standards to regulate what materials are used. But what exactly do DFARS standards entail, and how do they affect woven wire mesh? Well, W.S. Tyler is a trusted woven wire mesh supplier with over 150 years of experience, and we strive to help customers establish what is required out of their mesh products. It's for this reason that we'll go over what DFARS standards are, how DFARS standards affect woven wire mesh products, what to do if your mesh is not DFARS compliant, and how to determine if your mesh is DFARS compliant. DFARS is an acronym that stands for Defense Federal Acquisition Regulation. DFARS standards essentially state that the raw material used in government equipment must be sourced from a trusted supplier. These standards were created to help ensure that the material used to fulfill federal government contracts, specifically for the Department of Defense, are of the highest quality. Basically, DFARS standards prevent the integrity of the United States' supply chain from depending on low-quality materials. When producing woven wire mesh pieces, the company in every step of the manufacturing process must comply with DFARS standards. This includes any value-added services that must be outsourced, as well as the third-party company itself. Now, to comply with DFARS standards, raw material must be sourced from the United States or an allied NATO country. 26 countries fall within DFARS compliance. In regards to domestic specialty alloys, the mesh supplier must ensure that the mesh is woven in compliance within the DFARS 252.225-7014 Alt 1 clause. In other words, the mesh supplier and any third-party supplier cannot produce woven wire mesh products using specialty alloys unless the alloys were melted in the United States or in the United States territory or one of the countries listed here. Since these stringent regulations are only enforced in America, most woven wire suppliers don't keep DFARS compliant material in stock. This in turn means DFARS compliant mesh is typically made to order, increasing the lead times. DFARS compliance is also known to increase the overall cost of the mesh. To maintain competitive manufacturing costs, wire mesh suppliers often turn to China or Taiwan when looking for material. However, if a specific project calls for DFARS compliant material, mesh suppliers generally go through Germany or Sweden, which are known to produce higher quality material at a higher cost. But it's important to know that DFARS compliant and non-DFARS compliant wire mesh are one and the same when it comes to accuracy of pore openings. The most significant differences is simply the origin of raw material and the country of melt. Since DFARS compliant mesh products are used to fulfill federal government contracts, non-DFARS materials simply cannot be accepted. When a woven wire mesh piece is delivered and is not DFARS compliant, when the application calls for it, the mesh will need to be returned and replaced with compliant mesh. This is because DFARS compliant material is implemented in military equipment as a safeguard that helps to ensure the equipment works as intended every time. This is why you must thoroughly illustrate the requirements of your application when purchasing DFARS compliant mesh goods. When you purchase woven wire mesh, a material certification should be included in the packaging when it arrives at your facility. If for whatever reason it's not, you can reach out to the mesh supplier who should have the material certification on file. And as a final note, when designing DFARS compliant wire mesh components, it is important to understand what information the mesh supplier will need prior to the first touch point. This will help facilitate the quoting and manufacturing process, ensuring timely delivery. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, fill out a Contact Us form so we can answer your specific questions. Just click the link in the description. And if you'd like to learn even more about woven wire mesh or our many products, we have a learning center filled with written and video content to make you an expert. Just click that second link and you'll be that expert in no time. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and ring that bell to keep up with all things W.S. Tyler. Once again, my name's Andrew Kotlar, and I'll see you around in the next video. Bye for now.